So there are a couple of new launches from Redmi this year with their Note 12 series, the Note 12, the Note 12 Pro, as well as the Note 12 Pro Plus. All of them meets the needs of different customer base, and today we're here to check out the one smack in the middle, the Note 12 Pro. So this phone was sent over to me by Xiaomi for review, and I'm really excited to be working with Xiaomi on phone reviews, and this is not a sponsored review, so my review will still be based on my honest and unbiased opinion. So the Redmi Note 12 Pro 5G now comes in 3 different variants. So there's a 6GB RAM model with 128GB of storage. There's also an 8GB RAM model with 128GB of storage and 8GB RAM model with 256GB of storage. Of course, you can shop around online and find better deals, so these are just the official price. So if you're interested in buying this phone, definitely check out the links in the description below. So design wise, this is similar to most Android phones designed today, and the first thing I noticed with this phone is its weight. And for an almost flagship device, it's really not heavy at all, coming in at 187 grams. And maybe I'm more used to heavy phones like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and if you put on a case, it's well over 250 grams. So this is a welcoming change. So starting with the back of this phone, the design here is really modern and classy, very minimalist with a glass back panel here, and the Redmi 5G branding at the side here. And the main part is the small camera bump here, nothing too crazy like how you see modern cameras have, you know, really crazy huge camera bumps. So what we have here is still pretty basic with a 3-camera setup. On the right side of the phone is a volume rocker and a power button, which also acts as a fingerprint sensor. And personally for me, I'm still old school and I like the sensors on the power button, as it's the most natural way of holding your phone and waking it up. So at the top of the phone, there is a 3.5mm jack, very awesome since these phones supports high-res audio playback, and a 3.5mm jack is awesome to have. And there's also a dual speaker setup here, one at the top and one at the bottom. So at the bottom here, you're going to get your Type-C charging port, another set of speakers, and also the SIM tray, which holds 2 SIM cards in this case, but no expandable storage with this phone. So the good thing here is that Redmi gives you a case out of the box, so you really don't need to get anything extra with this phone. And there is also a pre-installed screen protector here, so just pop the phone into the case and you're ready to go. So you're getting a pretty decent display with the 12 Pro here, coming in at 6.67-inch Full HD Plus display, meaning you're going to get a 1080 screen with a resolution of 2400 by 1080. The good thing about this is that you're also going to get an AMOLED display similar to what was spec'd on the Note 11 Pro 5G that we've seen last year. The screen is also nice and sharp, and when held at standard phone holding distance, it is vivid, beautiful. The screen has DCI P3 color gamut and everything just looks nice, natural, and pops really well. So at peak, the 12 Pro 5G peaks out at 900 nits of brightness, and there is also a sunny display mode to ensure that you can see the display under direct sunlight. From my test, it's okay, but it's not the best in my opinion. So another feature that Redmi retains in this phone is the 120Hz refresh rate display, and I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna get used to it. So when I first used a 120Hz, it feels so smooth, so nice, but after a while, it just becomes like a normal screen when your eyes get used to it. So again, out of the box, the phone is set to 60Hz, so you're going to need to set it to 120Hz manually. So the battery here remains the same at 5000 mAh compared to its predecessor, and performance wise is also pretty much the same. So I've tested it with my continuous YouTube playback test and it performs really well, starting at 9 PM at night with 100%, and I let it run YouTube at maximum 4K resolution at max brightness, and it continued all the way to 6:30 in the morning with 43% battery left. Then I continued to let it run to the 12-hour mark, which is 9 in the morning, and it had 26% battery. And I continued to let it play all the way to 12 in the afternoon with 8% battery life, and finally it died at 1:30 in the afternoon, which is 16.5 total hours of continuous YouTube playback, which is frankly quite impressive. So the phone also supports 67 watts turbo charging, and Xiaomi also gives you that 67-watt charger in the box itself, so you don't need to worry about buying new charging heads or I need to get a gun charger to make it fast. So everything is provided in the box, and there is also no wireless charging found on this phone. So one thing that has changed here is that there is no longer a Snapdragon chipset with the Note series here, and Redmi is now going back to using the MediaTek Dimensity 1080 chipset, which is also an octa-core chip, clocking in at 2.6 GHz, which is faster than the previous gen Snapdragon at only 2.2 GHz. So to be honest, I don't feel much of an issue with this chipset, and everything still feels smooth, navigation is smooth, YouTube works great in 4K resolution, there's no lag, everything is good. So this is also coupled with the 8GB RAM that this phone comes packed with. So one thing to take note here is that Redmi removed the storage expandability with this phone, and with the previous Gen 11 Pro, it comes with 1TB of expandable storage, so there isn't an option here with the 12 Pro, so that's quite a bummer. So you do have to decide on your storage needs up front, and if you need 256GB and there's only one model with that, which is the 8GB RAM and 256GB of model, else you can also choose the 128GB model with either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. So similar to the Note 11 Pro, there is also no water resistant rating that we can find on this device itself. So try not to get the phone wet or submerge it. Gentle splashes from your day-to-day will be okay as long as you wipe it and don't get them into ports or openings. So the 12 Pro now also comes with Bluetooth 5.2 chipset, so you can connect them to your latest Bluetooth devices and also ensure future-proofing as long as possible. Finally, the phone now comes stock with MIUI 14 running Android 12. So it seems that camera manufacturers are now focusing on larger and larger megapixel counts, and sensors going up to 200 megapixel on the 12 Pro Plus is really quite crazy. But for starters, we're going to get a basic 50 megapixel sensor here with the 12 Pro, not the Plus model, and it comes in at f1.88, and Redmi also uses a Sony sensor for this module. So you can see that the sharpness here when using this lens is very sharp, very accurate, and overall it gives a really decent photo. Comparing it side by side with the 14 Pro Max, you can see it actually takes comparably good photos, which says a lot about the Redmi. So moving on to the portrait mode, I think the overall algorithm around the market for post-processing of any portrait mode is still hit or miss today. Unlike what you're going to get with Samsung, I would say that the Redmi here is really a hit or miss. The bokeh is mild, and you can see even in not very complex scene, the phone does get confused and starts blurring and unblurring random things. So what you get here with the macro lens is really passable as just okay, since it's only using a 2 megapixel macro lens, as compared to what you're going to get with better implementation of macro modes in other phones, especially like the iPhone 14. But of course, it's two different leagues of phone. So when moving away from the Sony sensor, you can start to see significant drop in sharpness, and the 0.6 times ultra wide lens is also the same, and you can see how soft the picture is compared to the full-on 50 megapixel Sony sensor, and it really lacks definition and clarity here. So night mode here is decent and it's okay, but you do see that it lacks details. However, at the back of it is actually a long exposure shot, and I realized that doesn't quite stabilize the footage that much, and you really need to hold your phone super steady, else you're gonna get a shaky picture. Video quality wise, I'm happy to report that you get 4K video quality at 30 frames per second, and at 1080p you're gonna get up to 60 frames per second. And if you're a fan of shooting slow motion pictures, you can shoot up to 960 frames per second at a lower resolution of 720p. The front 16 megapixel camera is also okay. With well-lit situation, there is no issue with the images and they are really nice, but at lower light situation, they may not be the nicest low light selfie camera in the market, but it's still usable. Video quality for the front camera is only 1080p up to 60 frames per second. So this is testing the 4K video in a bright sunny day to see texture, detail, and I think it looks pretty good. And this is the front selfie camera if there's front facing light, very nice. And if I start to back face the light, you can see that some noise is actually starting to appear. So that's how it looks like the front, but the front is 1080p, so it's not 4K. So this is me testing out the rear camera at 4K 30 frames per second. So this is with good ample studio lighting on me, and if I turn around, this is how the quality will change when there's less light in front of my face and the light is behind me. So what do you think of the quality of the video? Testing the video quality of the selfie camera on the Redmi Note 12 Pro 5G, and this is the quality that you get. Is a 1080p camera, so if I spin around and if the light is behind me, you can see a significantly drop in video quality. Everything is softer, noise is higher, but if I have my light shining at me, you can see that the quality is significantly better. So I think comparing the 11 Pro versus the 12 Pro, the improvements here is very marginal, and if you really look at it, the main upgrades here is in terms of the main camera. Although you're going to get a reduction in camera resolution, you're still going to get a better Sony sensor. Another good news for videographers here is the new MediaTek chipset, and you're going to get 4K recording now, which the 11 Pro doesn't support. So if you have been holding off getting the 11 Pro and is looking to update to something not as pro as the 12 Pro Plus, you don't need 200 megapixels for your cameras, then the 12 Pro is definitely a great option to consider. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.